So we have our album here, or calendar book, and this is going to be the drawer pull side. We need to make a matchbook sleeve or box for this to go in. So I've already cut my chipboard. I have two pieces that are 4 by 8 3/4, and you'll want two pieces that are 8 3/4 by 8 3/4, and then from cardstock you're going to need two 6-inch wide by 10 3/4, and then two 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on the back of my chipboard pieces. If you're going to use score tape, go ahead and use that, or your score tape sheets, and get those on the back side of your chipboards. We're going to wrap our chipboard pieces for our matchbook box the same way we did for our album. So this is the bigger piece of cardstock. This is the 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. And I'll put it all the way up in the corner here, and take those 1-inch wide chipboard strips you cut earlier. Should have saved. And I'm going to take one of the 8 3/4 by 8 3/4 chipboard pieces, and I'll peel my score tape off. I'm using 1-inch score tape here because I ran out of the score sheets. You can use different sizes of score tape that you have. You can use glue if you want to. This makes it really smooth, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this 1-inch score tape. Takes a little longer to peel all the backing off, but that's okay. So once you get all this off, then we're just going to place it down onto the cardstock. You're going to butt this up into the corner of your template pieces and get it on really straight. Now this will leave us about a 1-inch margin all the way around for wrapping. So we're going to do this on the other big piece that you have cut and on your two 4-inch wide pieces. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do that off camera, and then we'll come back and we'll actually do the wrapping. So I'm going to go ahead and start this and turn off the camera, and then I'll be back after we have them all attached to the cardstock. You have your chipboard attached to your cardstock, then you're going to miter the corners using whatever method you like to use. I am using my metal mitering tool to cut off all 4 corners on these 8 3/4 by 8 3/4 chipboard pieces. You want a 1-inch. We've got 1 inch here to wrap, so I'm just cutting this with my box cutter knife. I'm using this. Now you can fold and miter by cutting out the corners. So there's just different ways. There's different tools, or you can just use a chipboard. Spacer thing that you have, or you can do the corners, cut them out. So those are the 4 there. So then you fold this up like this. Now the other one I have already folded up and show you where the corners are. So this would be a way to do it if you're going to do it. I'm not going to cut out the corners, but you would do an angle cut and cut out these corners and then wrap. So it's the end result's the same. You just you want to have a nice, neat mitered corner without any chipboards showing. So that's the main purpose of using either of these methods, so that you have a good mitered corner. That. And because of the size of this, I would say use your score tape, because these are wide, but I'm going to go ahead and use glue because I'm getting low on my score tape, and I'll make sure I don't run out for another project. So I'm just going to fold all these and burnish and double check my corners here. Now I'm going to attach two opposite sides first. I'm going to put a line of glue right here along the edge of the chipboard and then glue for the rest of the way. Bring it over and burnish it down with my fingers to kind of get it started. And then burnish it the rest of the way with my bone folder. Make sure that it really sticks down good. And I'm going to turn it around and do the opposite side next. Same thing, glue along the edge of the chipboard and then glue on all the rest of it. This is where you would have your score tape if you're using score tape. Okay, now here, when you're using this kind of mitering, you want to take your bone folder, your fingernail, and where this paper is sticking out, you want to fold it towards the part that's going to be coming over. And I'm going to double check it, make sure my corners are okay. And again, I'm using the glue. Sure you push that in on the opposite side also. You want to make sure that goes around and in. I'm just going to look at it, make sure it's where I want it to be, and now the glue. A little bit too much glue there, so I need to clean that up. Now then. And so we got a good miter there on that one, and so I'm going to do the other one the exact same way, and then I'll show you what we're going to do for the 4-inch wide ones. So for your 4-inch wide pieces, go ahead and fold and burnish the sides up against the chipboard. And where we have the corners here, we're going to cut from this fold line to the other fold line to the corner of the edge, like that. So you do that on all 4 sides. So you have it like that. So you're going to do the other one the same way. Next, we're going to fold under and attach the top part. So this will be on your 4-inch width. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put right along that seam line onto the cardstock along the chipboard, and then glue on this end piece here. And then fold it over and use my shop towel to wipe up any excess glue. And then I'm going to burnish it really well, especially right here in this crease here where the edge of the chipboard is. So you want to get that really good. And then that, pressing that, I got a lot of glue out of there. And then this other side as well, just burnish it really well. Okay. Do the same for the other end. So let's do it on the other piece, the same thing. Okay, so now we're ready to form this to create our sides of our box. We're going to fold this over and really burnish really well. Both sides. And then turn it over and burnish, or use your bone folder to work this edge of the chipboard. Kind of get this fold going. Run it back and forth, both sides. This works if you're using the artisan cardstock. Now, if you're using a different cardstock, I'm not sure how well this technique will hold up for you. Artisan cardstock can only be ordered from Country Craft Creations online. It's a linen type cardstock, so it has fibers that makes it really, really strong. As long as you're not using a sharp bone folder, it does not tear. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this over again. And then we're going to take this and using the edge of our chipboard, we're just going to make a slight cut angle, not a real big one. So like from the edge here, just like that. And we're going to do this for the other piece as well. Okay. Set that aside for now and work on the other one, same way. So with your finished sides facing up, we're going to lay one of the 4-inch pieces here on the left. Nothing is going to attach to this flap here. But we're going to take one of our square pieces, our 8 3/4 by 8 3/4 once it's been wrapped, and we're going to glue it onto this 1-inch hinge right up against the fold line. So let's put glue right here. And I'm trying to keep it from having a lot of mess in that fold. So I'm trying to keep it a little ways from it. Not too terribly close, but so right side up. And we're going to place this right here against this fold line. And let's burnish that in. Put that in tight. Gently turn it over and burnish. So on the side of this one, we have one 4-inch one, one 8 3/4 inch one here. So next we want to put another one of these. So I'm going to turn it around so that I don't know why I need the smaller one on the left. So this is going to go attached to that. So I'm just burnishing this in again so that we can see it really good. Okay, so the glue goes here on the flap. And again, not up real close to that fold line, trying to keep some of that glue from oozing out. And I'm going to take this piece and we're going to put it right up against that fold line. Make sure that we're even here at the top and the bottom. I'm going to burnish that down. And we're going to flip it over. Wipe off any glue that come out. And burnish really good. Turn it back around. So this is my left side. We got this, so we're going to put a big one here. Same thing. So it's going to glue on right here. So it really doesn't matter which direction it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this one here. Get the glue. Draw a line. This is the first time I've made a box sleeve this way, and I'm anxious to see how it turns out. So bring this all the way into the fold. And burnish. Let's turn it over. Wipe off this glue right here. Really want to give it a good burnish here. Okay. So this brings it all together. And it goes together just like that. Now, I have to decide inside or out. I think it needs to go to the inside. But before we do that, we need to add some pattern paper. So I'm going to make myself a note. Do not pattern. This is the bigger one. Yet. I won't do it yet. So we want these patterned next. And I think I'm just going to use the black cardstock. If you want pattern paper, you have enough pattern paper, you could do that. This is going to be the inside of our box. So we don't want to do any layering. So whatever you put in, you just want one solid piece. If you want to do a solid color or the cardstock, that's going to be up to you. And yeah, I need to decide what I want to do. Okay, to finish the inside here, I've cut my cardstock, and the sizes are, see, this one is 5 inches by 8 3/4. They're all 8 3/4 tall. We have a, make sure that's right, 5 inch. We have a 6 7/8 by 8 3/4. Then I have a 6 inch by 8 3/4, and the last one is 7 3/4 by 8 3/4. So we're going to set this one aside because this is the one we don't want to put down yet. And I'm going to go ahead and put score tape on these two for now, and that's what I'm going to attach it with. So I'll be right back after I get that done. Got the tapes on there. I'm going to pull the tape off this first one. So this would be the 5 inch wide. So we're going to put that on this first piece here on the left that has the flaps that's not folded over. We're going to line this right up against where this edge of the chipboard is so that it's all covered. Burnish that down, and then you're going to make sure that again you fold, find your fold here, and we're going to crease that. And let's slide it over. Now this next one goes in this section here. So I'm going to peel this tape off. Doesn't want to come loose. There we go. Okay, so on this one I did have a little bit of overhang on some of my tape, so I'm just going to take my fingers and push it to the back. So I don't want any tape exposed. I should have done a better job at cutting that, but this, you can just use your fingers to roll it back. You're not stuck to it. There we go. Okay, so now this one's going to fit, and you can use these flaps as a guide that you already put down, so we're just going to stick it right on that. And burnish. And you've got two fold lines here that you want to make sure that you get them burnished in. There we go, and the other side. And we have that. And now we'll do this one right here, which is the skinnier one. We don't want overlapping, so that it should fit just between those two that we put down. So if it's a little off, I'm going to trim it down just a very teeny tiny bit. Very tiny. The hairline. So I trimmed off just a little bit. Didn't go all the way through. Big scissors. There they are. I didn't press down good enough with my trimmer, but I have the mark, and if I use big scissors I can cut that straight. Okay, so let's see if that fits better. So right here and right there, yeah, so that works. So I'm just using glue on this one so that I can maneuver it a little bit to get it in better. It's not covering a fold, so I don't have to worry about score tape or anything, any buckling with this, so I can use the glue. Because this one stays flat. But I just want to line it up with this piece here. And there. Okay, burnish that down. Okay, so this we will cover once we put it together. So this is going to bring it like this, and we're going to line it up just like that. And I am going to use some score tape to help me hold it. So you flip it so that it is finished side is up. Yeah, because it's going to go to the inside. So I'm going to put some score tape here. Here on the edge think on the inside here and along the edge. Let's make sure we have a couple of clips to use. Peel the backing off. I'm going to add some glue in between the space, right here on the end. And then we're going to fold this in. Bring this big side up. And this can be a little tricky, so just take your time and make sure it lines up right. Oops, not right there. I would flatten it, but it really won't work. Flattening won't help on this. Okay, right along the seam. Might have been better just to use glue, but I'm going to get it. There we go. Going there. I'm going to reach in there and burnish. Burnish it really well. You want to make sure it sticks down all the way across. And so that's lined up, and I don't need, since I use the score tape, I don't need any glue after all. So that's our shell for our Matchbox book, and this is should slide right in there. Hopefully everything worked out okay. Just like that. So there's our pull right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one piece of pattern paper in now. This was double checking, and so we're going to use glue on this, and we can reach in and put this in between these two pieces. So I'm going to check. I think I have it too long, too wide. So the size that I need is kind of hard to see with it in there. It's like 6 3/4. Yeah, 6 3/4 for that one. Instead of six and 3/4 instead of 7 3/4. So I'm going to change that on my notes. I think I had that right in the first place, and then I changed it. So 6 3/4. I'm going to trim this down real quick. Just do it over here on the side. And check it. Okay, so let's put some glue on it. Okay. And then burnish it. Okay, so that is going to be my top side. And there it is. Now we're ready to put pattern paper. For the outside, top, bottom, and sides of our match book box, that will become our easel, we need to cut. And I chose to use the June, so you will need, in addition to the main collection that you can order of the calendars collection, you will need whatever month you want extra of for this. Since I'm using June on my album, and I did use up all the June nearly, except for one cut apart sheet, you need to order an extra, and you can just order the monthly. So you get 3 sheets of the prints and 2 sheets of the solids of this collection. So I separately ordered June to finish this box here. So you need, for the top and the bottom, you need 2 cut at 8 5/8 by 8 5/8. And then you need on the sides 2 that are 8 5/8 wide by 4 inches tall. And then for the inside, I'm only going to pattern the bottom where it's seamed together. Can't really see that very well in here, but there's a seam here and a seam here. I want that smooth, so I cut 1 out of the June solid, and I'm going to use the blue side in here. Cut it 8 5/8 by 8 5/8. So that's going to go in there. So I've already inked all my edges. So I'm going to go ahead and put the blue one on the inside. This is so that the book will slide in and out easily. Now if you want to use score tape sheets, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just going to use glue. Put it on all the edges. And then in the center as well. And since this is a square, just slide it in, kind of bow it up and get it in there. So it should go in pretty tight, not tight, but right up against the edge really well. So I'm going to burnish that in there. I'm using my spatula type bone folder, flat edge, and get it all burnished along the edges especially, and across the center. You want this smooth in here so the box can slide in and out. Okay, so we got that patterned in there. Can't really see that because of the lights, but yeah, there you go. Okay, so now we're ready for this. So I'm going to use plaid all the way around because I think plaid will be more neutral for the easel piece. So I'm going to go ahead and just use glue on this. And so I'm going to use plaid on the top, the bottom, and both sides. Just going to line this up. Now this, because it's a matchbook type box, it is a little wiggly. When the album book is in there, it is much more sturdy. I will show you that in just a minute. And you can actually put it in while you're patterning this. So I'm just using my hand underneath to get it on there really good. And turn it over and put the other one on the back. This is a really fun project. It's really big, so it's something that if you wanted to make your book and your match box sleeve box with the easel piece, make all of that and then start decorating your pages like quarterly or the month before for the next month. You could do that. If you're giving it as a gift, then of course you're going to want to do it all at once. Okay, so burnish this part. This is the bottom. Around. down to the sides. Again, these are 4 inches tall by 8 5/8 wide. And I did ink all the edges. And nothing on the inside because this is smooth here, and then of course you can't see the inside top, so there's no need to waste any of your pattern paper on that unless you just want to. I want to make sure that it is not too tight in there. So I am not putting any extra pattern paper except for that one solid color in the bottom there. But you could do that with black cardstock if you're running short on your papers, or you need the solid for something else. You certainly could do that. Okay, so here's our matchbook box that we're going to put an easel on the top. Now let me show you. Let me grab my book. So here's the book. The pull goes on the front, and you just kind of hold it up and like insert it in there, and it just slides right in, and then line it up. So that makes it look like a drawer. Now you're going to have to hold it when I tip it up. Of course, that's not the normal, but from the back it's going to look like that. And here's the front of the box. So I'm going to leave the book in there to kind of make this real sturdy so that I can make my easel. I'm going to show you how to construct that, and then we'll decorate it